The hiss of hydraulics was deafening. One by one, the tanks opened, and pale mist curled across the cavern floor like smoke. Clara clutched Daniel's arm, her stomach twisting into knots. Inside the glass chambers, they stared back at her. Dozens, hundreds, each version of herself, but stronger, sharper, eyes glowing faintly with something not human. Clara whispered, her voice trembling, "They are awake." Daniel raised his weapon, his jaw tightening. "No, they are waiting." And then, as if on cue, the tanks unlatched in unison. The clones stepped down, bare feet slapping against the wet stone floor. Their movements were terrifyingly synchronized, heads tilting, eyes locking on Clara. One of them, taller than the rest, stepped forward. Its expression wasn't blank. It was amused. "You're late," it said, in her voice. Clara's blood froze. What are you?" The clone smiled faintly, unnervingly. "We're what you were meant to be. What he tried to stop you from becoming." Daniel hissed, keeping Clara behind him. "Don't listen. They're baiting you." But deep down, Clara felt something stirring, like a memory that wasn't hers. A metallic clang echoed above. Clara's head snapped up. On the steel balcony overlooking the cavern, Gareth Holloway appeared, his silver suit immaculate even in the chaos. He spread his arms as if unveiling a masterpiece. "Magnificent, aren't they? Every one of them. Perfect. And you, Clara, you were just the first trial run. A test that survived." Clara's heart pounded, her voice breaking. "Why me? Why my life?" Holloway's eyes glinted coldly. "Because your mother made a choice. She thought she was protecting you, but in truth, she gave you to me." Clara's knees weakened. No, she wouldn't. But the smirk on Holloway's face told her it wasn't a lie. The lead clone stepped closer, eyes locked with Clara's. "You feel it, don't you? The pull in your veins. The connection to us." Clara shook her head violently. "No, I'm not like you." But her pulse quickened, and when the clones moved, she felt a shiver ripple through her own body, like her nerves were wired to theirs. Daniel noticed her trembling. "Clara, look at me. You're not them. You're you." Her breath came ragged. "But what if I'm not?" Without warning, the clones surged forward. Daniel opened fire, bullets echoing through the cavern, but they barely slowed. Clara grabbed a loose pipe from the ground, swinging desperately at the first one that reached her. It stumbled back, but another replaced it instantly. "Run!" Daniel shouted, grabbing her wrist. They sprinted down a narrow side passage, clones flooding after them, their footsteps a thunderous wave. Clara's lungs burned, every muscle screaming, but she couldn't stop hearing Holloway's words echoing in her skull. Her mother gave her away. The tunnel spit them out into another vast chamber, this one humming with machines. The air smelled of ozone and metal. At the center stood a massive glass pod, glowing faint blue. Inside floated a woman, older, frail, but unmistakably similar to Clara. Her heart stopped. "Mom!" The woman's eyes flickered open, lips parting weakly. A breath of fog escaped her mouth as she whispered, "Clara, forgive me." Before Clara could respond, alarms wailed, and the glass pod began to drain. Clara staggered forward, her mind spinning. Her mother was alive, here, in this nightmare. But the clones were already pouring into the chamber behind them, their glowing eyes fixed on her. Daniel raised his weapon, but it clicked empty. He cursed under his breath, stepping in front of Clara anyway. Above them, Holloway's voice boomed over the intercom. "Let the mother explain, if she dares. But know this, Clara, your bloodline was never meant to end. It was meant to replace. The pod cracked open. Clara's mother collapsed forward, gasping for air. And as the clones closed in, her trembling hand reached out toward Clara. "Don't fight them," she whispered. "Join them." Clara froze, caught between the army at her back, the truth in her mother's eyes, and Daniel, gripping her hand, ready to drag her into a fight she might not win. The hiss of the glass pod opening filled the chamber. Clara's knees nearly buckled as the frail figure stepped out, supported only by trembling legs. Her mother's skin was pale, her hair streaked with gray, yet her eyes carried the same fire Clara remembered from childhood. "Mom!" Clara whispered, tears brimming. Her mother's lips quivered. "You were never supposed to see me like this." The army of duplicates circled the chamber, forming a wall of identical faces. Their expressions were unreadable, except the lead clone, who smiled with eerie patience. Daniel gripped Clara's arm, forcing her behind him. "We don't have time for this. We need to move." But Clara couldn't. Her body wouldn't let her. "Why are you here?" she demanded, her voice cracking. "Why did Holloway say you gave me away?" Her mother's shoulders sagged, her voice raw with shame. "Because it was the only way to keep you alive." Alarms pulsed through the chamber, crimson light flashing across their faces. Clara's mother steadied herself, speaking fast, her voice echoing against the metal walls. "You were born different, stronger. He wanted to take you from me the moment you opened your eyes. I couldn't stop him, not directly. So I made a deal." Clara's breath caught. "What deal?" Her mother looked away. "I gave him part of myself, my blood, my DNA, to finish his work. In exchange, he let me raise you in secret, hidden from the program." Daniel's face darkened. "Hidden? She's been hunted her whole life." Her mother winced. "I thought I bought you freedom, but I only delayed the inevitable." Clara shook her head violently, tears spilling. "All those nights I thought Dad left us. All the times you wouldn't answer my questions. You knew. You knew this was coming." Her mother's eyes glistened. "I wanted you to have a normal life. I wanted you to forget." The lead clone tilted its head, voice like a mirror. "But she never forgot us. Because she is us." Clara flinched. A strange heat pulsed through her veins, stronger than before. Her chest heaved as if something inside her was fighting to get out. From the shadows above, Holloway's voice boomed through hidden speakers. "Beautiful, isn't it? Mother and daughter, united at last. But let's not waste time. Clara belongs to me. She was always mine." Daniel raised his weapon again, though it was empty. His voice cut through the chaos. "Over my dead body." Holloway chuckled. "That can be arranged." Clara's mother staggered closer, gripping Clara's shoulders with surprising strength. "You have to listen to me. They're bound to you because of me. But you don't have to let them control you. You can control them." Clara's heart raced. "What are you saying?" Her mother's eyes locked with hers. "You're their queen. You always were." The clones shifted at the words, their glowing eyes flickering, like the truth resonated in their bones. Daniel's voice was sharp, panicked. "Clara, don't listen. That's exactly what Holloway wants." The clones began advancing again, their footsteps pounding like drums. Daniel raised his arms, bracing for impact. Clara's mother grabbed her face, her voice urgent. "You have one chance. If you embrace it, they'll obey you. If you don't, he'll use them to tear us all apart." Clara felt her pulse hammering in sync with the army's march. Her skin burned. Her body trembled as the clones closed in, waiting, almost hungry for her command. Daniel shouted, desperate, "Clara, You're not one of them. You're you. Don't give in. Her mother whispered, her voice breaking. Save us. Become what you were meant to be. The lead clone stepped forward, kneeling before Clara as the others stopped in perfect unison. Every glowing eye turned to her. Her breath caught. Her hands shook. And then, like a dam breaking, she felt the words rise in her throat, foreign yet familiar. Obey me. The chamber fell silent. Every clone bowed their head. Daniel's face drained of color. Clara, what did you just do? Above them, Holloway's laughter shook the walls. At last, the queen has taken her throne. Clara stared at her trembling hands, horrified, because she knew she wasn't in control anymore. The silence in the chamber was suffocating. Hundreds of identical faces stared at Clara, their heads bowed, their bodies waiting for her command. Her heart pounded in her chest, each beat echoing louder than the alarms still blaring overhead. Her own voice replayed in her mind, two words she hadn't meant to say. Obey me. Daniel stepped back slowly, his eyes locked on Clara. His voice shook, raw with disbelief. Clara, you just commanded them. Clara's lips parted, but no sound came out. She couldn't look at him. She couldn't even look at herself. Her hands trembled as if stained with something she couldn't wash off. Her mother's weak voice cut through the tension. It had to happen eventually. Better by your choice than by his. Clara turned sharply. That wasn't my choice. It just came out of me. Her mother's face darkened. Because it's who you are. Holloway's laughter rolled from the intercoms above, deep and thunderous. At last, the bloodline awakens. Years of wasted experiments, and finally, the perfect heir. Daniel snapped, rage breaking his restraint. She's not yours, Holloway. The tycoon's voice was ice. On the contrary, Mercer. She's mine by creation, mine by design. And now, his tone dropped to a sinister whisper. She knows it. The clones shifted as if jolted by invisible strings, awaiting the next command. Clara felt the strange heat rising in her veins again, pulling at her mind like a rope around her throat. No, Clara whispered, pressing her palms to her temples. This isn't me. I don't want this. But the army's eyes flared in sync with her words, reacting to her resistance. One clone even jerked violently, cracking its neck to the side as if waiting for her rejection. Daniel rushed to her, gripping her shoulders. Clara, look at me. You're not their queen. You're you. Whatever he did, whatever he wants, it doesn't define you. Tears streaked her face. Then why do they listen? Why does it feel good? Her mother staggered forward, her frail form shaking. She reached for Clara, her eyes burning with urgency. Because Holloway used my blood to make them, and yours to complete them. You're connected to every one of them, but you can break it if you choose. Clara looked up sharply. How? Tell me how. Her mother hesitated. You'll have to destroy what ties you to them. Daniel frowned. And what's that supposed to mean? Her mother's lips trembled, her gaze shifting to the glowing veins now visible across Clara's wrists. It means she has to burn it out, or it'll consume her. The chamber doors groaned open. A heavy mechanical hiss filled the air as a new platform descended from above. On it stood Gareth Holloway himself, tall, composed, his silver hair slicked back, his blue eyes piercing with cruel satisfaction. He wasn't hiding behind the speakers anymore. He was here. Daniel tensed, instinctively placing himself between Clara and the man. You came down here in person? Big mistake. Holloway smiled thinly. Oh, I think not. Clara won't hurt me. In fact, his gaze shifted to her, piercing. She can't. Clara froze, because deep inside, she knew he wasn't lying. "Why can't I?" Clara demanded, her voice breaking. Holloway took a slow step forward, his polished shoes echoing in the chamber. "Because, my dear, I'm the one who made you. Every instinct you feel, every surge of power, every voice whispering inside your head, that's me." The clones all dropped to one knee in unison, their voices speaking together like a single hive. "Father!" Clara's stomach twisted. The room spun. She wanted to scream, but the words sat on the edge of her tongue like poison, wanting to escape. Holloway extended his hand, calm and commanding. "Come to me, Clara. Fulfill your purpose." Daniel's grip on her arm tightened. "Don't you dare. He's lying." Her mother's voice cracked with desperation. "Clara, fight him. Fight it now." But Clara's feet moved on their own. One step, then another. The clone's glowing eyes followed in perfect unison, their breaths syncing with hers. Her trembling hand started to rise toward Holloway's. Her voice, cold, distant, no longer her own, whispered a single word. "Father." Daniel's face went pale. "Oh God, no." The chamber pulsed with a strange rhythm, as if the walls themselves beat in time with Clara's heart. Every clone knelt in perfect synchronization, eyes glowing, lips parting in silent devotion to her. Her hand hovered inches from Holloway's. The silver-haired tycoon didn't blink, didn't breathe, just waited, certain she would take his hand. "Clara!" Daniel's voice cracked like a whip in the stillness. He yanked at her arm, but it was like trying to move stone. "Don't let him win. You're stronger than this." Clara's eyes flicked toward him, but they were glazed, almost glassy. For the first time since Daniel had known her, she looked like she wasn't really there. Holloway tilted his head, his smile curling with satisfaction. "She hears you, Mercer, but my voice is louder." Clara's mind was a storm. Images flashed, her childhood laughter, the locket around her neck, her father's warm hand holding hers. But then they blurred, overwritten by another voice. "Obey, protect, serve." It wasn't Holloway's voice exactly. It was hers, but warped, hollow, commanding. Her breath caught as she whispered to herself, "What if I'm not me anymore?" Her mother stumbled forward, ignoring the trembling in her legs. Her frail hands reached out, but her voice thundered with a surprising strength. "Clara, look at me, not him. You're not his creation. You're mine. My blood gave you life. My love raised you. Don't you dare let him rewrite who you are." Clara's eyes flickered. For a moment, the glassy haze cracked. A tear slid down her cheek, but Holloway's voice cut through like a knife. "And where was she when you needed her most? In hiding, running, abandoning you." Her mother's face went pale, lips trembling, because she knew he wasn't entirely wrong. "You see." Holloway's voice softened, almost tender, dripping with poison. "I've been here all along, watching, preparing you. You were never meant to live a small life, Clara. You were meant to lead, to rule, to become what no one else could." The clones shifted as if the very walls leaned toward his words. Clara's knees weakened. Her pulse thundered. The warmth of Holloway's presence pulled her like gravity. And then, her lips parted. "I am." Daniel stepped in front of her, blocking her view of Holloway. His face was fierce, desperate. "If you say you belong to him, you'll lose yourself forever." He ripped something from his jacket pocket, a tiny silver lighter, scarred and scratched. Clara froze when she saw it. It was the same lighter her father had carried, the one she thought was lost the night he disappeared. Daniel's voice cracked. Your dad gave this to me before he vanished. He told me, if she ever doubts who she is, show her this. She'll remember she's more than her blood. Her chest heaved. The clone army trembled, their eyes flickering between Holloway's icy blue and Daniel's raw, desperate brown. Two voices tore through her mind like fire and ice. Obey me. Remember who you are. Her mother sobbed, clutching her chest. Daniel held the lighter high. Holloway extended his hand further. Clara's body shook violently, her lips moving before she even realized. I am not yours. The clones screamed. A deafening roar shook the chamber as half of them collapsed, clutching their heads. The lights overhead flickered, alarms wailed, and sparks rained from broken wires. Holloway's eyes narrowed to slits. For the first time, his calm cracked. You dare defy me? Clara staggered back, the glow in her veins dimming slightly. She gasped for breath, tears streaming. I am not your daughter. Daniel rushed to her, pulling her close. For a split second, it felt like they'd won. Then the floor split open. A massive steel pod rose from below, hissing with steam. The metal shell unfurled like petals, revealing a figure inside. It wasn't a clone. It wasn't Holloway. It was her father, alive. But his eyes glowed the same as the army's. Clara, his voice rumbled, mechanical and broken. Obey me. Clara's scream echoed through the chamber. The air turned electric. Steam hissed around the steel pod as the figure inside stepped forward. Clara's knees buckled. Her father, her real father, was alive. His face was gaunt, his hair streaked with gray, but his presence filled the chamber like a thunderclap. Yet the glow in his eyes was unmistakable. Holloway's poison burned within him. Dad, Clara's voice cracked, small, trembling. He tilted his head, just slightly, like he was trying to recognize her. For a flicker of a second, the glow dimmed. His jaw quivered, but then his voice boomed, deeper, colder than she remembered. Obey me. The clones dropped to their knees in unison, bowing before him. It was clear, he wasn't just another subject. He was their leader. Holloway's laugh filled the chamber, echoing off the steel walls. You see now, Clara? You were never the key. You were just the bridge. He is the perfection of my design. Clara's heart shattered. Her father had been taken, reshaped into Holloway's ultimate weapon. And worse, he looked at her with eyes that belonged to a stranger. Her mother's cry broke through the chaos. No, John, it's me. It's us. Remember your family. For a moment, his hands shook, trembling like a man fighting invisible chains. But then he straightened, his voice booming again. There is no family, only the order. Daniel stepped in front of Clara, shielding her like a wall. His grip tightened on the lighter in his hand. If he's really in there, he'll fight back. He has to. But Holloway sneered. You underestimate my reach. Every memory he has been rewritten. Every bond severed. To him, you're nothing but shadows. Clara's chest tightened. Was that true? Was her father completely gone? Her father's glowing eyes fixed on Clara. His lips parted, words forming that shook her to her core. Locket. Her hand flew to her chest, clutching the small pendant that had started this entire nightmare. She fumbled it open. Inside was the faded picture of her parents, smiling before everything had fallen apart. Dad, it's you. Please, fight him. The glow dimmed again. His breath hitched. The clones twitched uncertainly, their synchrony faltering. Clara's hope surged. I know you're still in there. But Holloway slammed his cane against the floor, the sound like a gunshot. The clones roared. Her father seized, convulsing violently as sparks of light raced along his veins. He fell to his knees, clutching his skull, torn between two worlds. His voice fractured, two tones colliding, one human, one hollow. "Clara, run, obey." Daniel grabbed her arm. "He's breaking apart. We have to go." But Clara refused to move. Tears poured down her cheeks. "I can't leave him." With a scream that rattled the chamber, her father surged to his feet. His glowing eyes blazed brighter than ever. The air itself seemed to crackle around him. He looked straight at Clara, and then raised his arm. A pulse of energy erupted, slamming Daniel across the room. Sparks exploded, alarms shrieked, and steel beams cracked from the force. Clara froze, her father's hand now aimed directly at her chest. Her mother screamed. Holloway smiled. Now, Holloway whispered, "End her." Clara's father's glowing eyes locked onto hers. His trembling hand steadied. And then, his lips moved, forming one word. "Forgive." The energy in his hand pulsed, brighter, brighter, until the entire chamber shook as though it would collapse. And then the screen would cut to black. The chamber quaked as John, Clara's father, stood trembling, his hand glowing with lethal energy. Clara's heart thundered. She could see the war raging in his eyes. The cold, artificial obedience Holloway had drilled into him, and the faint flicker of the man she once called Dad. "Forgive," his voice cracked, human for just a moment, before the hollow resonance surged again. Holloway's voice cut through the noise, sharp and commanding. "Finish her." The clones tensed, waiting for their master's example. Clara's mother sobbed. Daniel dragged himself upright, blood trickling from his forehead. Clara took one step forward. Tears streamed down her face, but her voice was steady. "No, I won't run. If you destroy me, you'll destroy the last piece of yourself." John's glowing hand shook violently. The veins in his neck bulged as he fought against Holloway's control. Sparks shot from his fingertips, sizzling against the steel walls. Clara clutched the locket tight and held it out, her voice cracking with desperation. "Look at us. Look at Mom's smile. Look at who you really are." His eyes flickered, the blue glow dimming for just a second. He gasped, almost as if surfacing from drowning. "Clara, my little girl." Holloway slammed his cane against the floor, fury twisting his face. "No, you are mine." The clones roared in unison, charging toward Clara and Daniel. John turned, energy erupting from his body in a shockwave that sent the first wave of clones flying like ragdolls. The chamber erupted in chaos, metal screeching, alarms blaring. Clara's mother reached for him, voice breaking. "John, don't let him take you again. Please." He glanced back, anguish tearing across his face. Then he whispered something Clara almost didn't catch. "I can't come back, but I can set you free." Before Clara could respond, John clenched his fists and released a deafening roar. His body erupted with radiant energy, an explosion of light that tore through the chamber. The clones collapsed instantly, their hollow forms disintegrating like ash in the wind. Holloway screamed as his cane shattered, the force throwing him violently against the steel wall. Clara was knocked to the ground, shielding her eyes from the searing light. When the brightness faded, the clones were gone. The lab was in ruins, and John, her father, was on his knees, the glow fading from his eyes. Clara scrambled to his side, sobbing as she cradled him in her arms. "No, no, you're not leaving me again. Not like this." His hand, trembling, reached up to touch her cheek. His voice was weak but filled with love. "You made me remember who I was, who I'll always be. Stay with us, Dad, please." He shook his head slowly. Some battles, we don't survive. But what matters is that you carry the truth forward. That you live. Her mother's sobs echoed in the ruined chamber. Daniel stood silently nearby, tears burning his eyes. John pressed the broken locket back into Clara's palm. Keep this, not as a memory of me, but as a reminder of who you are. Strong, unbreakable, and never alone. With one final breath, his hand slipped away. His body went still. Clara screamed, clinging to him, her tears soaking his shirt. Holloway staggered to his feet, his face twisted with rage. You think this ends it? You've destroyed the Order's vessel, but my vision lives on. Before he could finish, Daniel stepped forward and delivered a crushing blow to his jaw, sending him sprawling. Clara rose, eyes blazing with fury and grief. You built your empire on lies, on destroying families. But tonight, it ends. Holloway snarled, but the fight had drained from him. The lab's alarms grew louder, warning of imminent collapse. Daniel pulled Clara and her mother toward the exit. As they stumbled into the night air, flames erupted from the hillside. The Halcyon facility burned, swallowed whole by the darkness it had created. Standing outside the inferno, Clara whispered through her tears. He saved us. Even after everything, he chose love over control. Daniel placed a hand on her shoulder. That's the kind of strength no machine, no order, no tyrant can ever erase. Her mother added softly, family isn't about blood alone. It's about the love we choose, the love we fight for, and the legacy we leave behind. The story ends not with revenge, but with redemption. Clara's father, even in his broken state, showed that the human spirit, the ability to love, to forgive, and to sacrifice, cannot be rewritten or controlled. And perhaps that's the lesson we can all carry. True strength is not found in power, but in the courage to love when it's hardest. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is the final victory over those who try to break us. The greatest legacy we leave behind is not what we built, but the love we gave. As Clara stood watching the flames fade into the night, she held her father's locket close to her chest. She knew the pain would never fully leave, but neither would the strength he had given her. And in that, she found peace.
Every crime hides more than it reveals, and you don't want to miss what comes next. So before you go, subscribe now, like this video, and click the bell, because the next case might just hold the answer to the one you can't stop thinking about. Join the investigation. Join us behind the crime.